you're describing in a way is the evolution of consciousness and what
Mm,
authority means and how tradition can pass on knowledge and wisdom, or it can also impede it. And as we become more open-minded, we realize that it is in the sharing and in the trust in this knowledge that it can grow. When we are in a fear-based society, then
mm,
if I tell you something that might give you an advantage over me, I'm very cautious about who I tell and what power might be transmitted. What we're finding in the world, slowly and sometimes with bruises and bumps along the way, is that we can create communities of trust and we can spread that in the world, not by keeping knowledge back. People will keep themselves back from knowledge. Take the internal martial arts, for example.
yeah.
Professor Chen Cheng came, was one of the first to come from the Eastern tradition. He actually taught in the Chinese military, but he came to New York. And again, I had the privilege of going to his school. Unfortunately, he died 2 months before I got there, but were still very strong. And it was one of those teachers that told us about breathwork. But his main book is There Are No Secrets. In other words, he was looked down upon by many of the Chinese American community because he was teaching things that were supposed to be only for the intelligentsia, only for the elect. He was teaching the secrets of Tai Chi, which he said are not really a secret. They take determination, diligence, and practice. And I right now am taking an online course from Damo Mitchell, who, when you watch what he does with his body, you'd say, that's miraculous. How can anyone do that? You know, just touch another person and they go flying. Now, he
Yeah.
doesn't do this cruelly, but it comes through inner discipline and inner work. So we have discovered that we can teach modulation of the breath to people in various ways at various levels and make sure that if we're saying take this and share it with others, that they
Mhm.
also have some sense of the ethics involved. Because when a person goes into a non-ordinary state of consciousness, which can happen, I
Yeah.
mean, this is what shaman did for centuries. They would go into a non-ordinary state of consciousness using their breath, but a person first experiencing that becomes very suggestible. And if you are not very clean on your intentions and you work with them, well, you could see, well, great, this is to my advantage. So you can take something that is sacred and not use it in a sacred way. This is what we are particularly trying to do with the Global Professional Breathwork Alliance, is create an organization that helps to oversee who's trained and who is operating ethically, not like they're the only people that can breathe or teach breathing, but at
Yeah.
least that the public knows, okay, I'd rather go to someone that has gone to medical school, you know,
Mm,
has a license, if they're going to operate on my intestines, you know, other
yeah.
someone who just saw a YouTube video and
Yeah.
that, as I said, began a groundswell of work. But as you develop a tool, it's passed on and utilized in many different ways by many different people. And after a number of years went by, I began to go to Europe and join in the global inspiration conferences, which I thought, wonderful. Here's literally people from around the world who are practicing breath work, and everyone was invited with any form of breath work. And
Cool.
again, I thought that was in a way, it was like a circus. You could see
Mm,
all sorts of acts that were going on, but then you could also see that not everyone's use or intention of it came through with spiritual clarity or purity. And so I talked to a group of people who had been teaching for quite a while that
yeah.
were well respected. This was 1997. And I said, what do you observe here? It looks to me like it would be good if people who had some experience were able to impart that. And we're not always starting from zero. They agreed. And then a number of years later, when I brought the Global Inspiration Conference to the United States, first time in the Western Hemisphere, and invited all of the teachers from around the world to
Mm,
come. And one of the teachers, Jessica Dibb, was right in sync with me and saying, let's start an organization now that wants to make its main focus standards and ethics
yeah.
and breathwork. So that was in 2001. So breathwork has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And now with the internet and so much more exposure, and also the raising of consciousness, it is much more available. So let's use it consciously.
Yeah.
Let's put the best of what we know and how it can be used. And also, let's inform people of what misuses might be
Yeah.
and what are the dangers of it if it's not handled properly.
Yeah.
And that's going on too. Australia has actually pioneered and one of the government sponsored organizations. Regulations have changed, so there's fits and starts as in any profession. Things will
Yeah.
start up and then go out of favor and
Sure.
a lot of politics. But I know a breath worker who was invited to be a staff member of an addictions agency. I right now am on the dissertation committee of someone who is doing his doctoral dissertation on the effect of breath work on anxiety that can be done virtually on the internet. I've known a number of people that have done masters and doctoral work on breath work. We're looking to bring this together now so that it's more of reinventing the wheel.